35th frame to the 115th, we have a nice transition of the depth field. So I'm just pushing the depth field just to the back wall and really widening the depth field number. So now that's done, we can turn off the focal plane setup. Now we can preview the animation, starting with a little bit of depth field at the back. And when the animation starts going past the 35th frame, it's going to slightly pull back so you can see the whole room and the back wall in focus. And now the whole room should be in focus. So that's the regular way to composite. So let's get on with the multi-channel compositing. So imagine if we instead we had those three nodes, but instead we had 15 or 20 render layers, or all different kinds of elements we need to composite. We have different alphas, masks. This would be much easier if we can create one single file with multiple channels we can get all the information from. So here, just imagine how much nodes we need to interact with just to make simple composite, and it will be just much easier and more visually easier to navigate if we use the multi-channel method. But before we start doing it, we need a little bit of preparation. That is to create a single file of all the different elements we have. So I'm going to duplicate those three render layers to the side. And now all we're going to do is to combine them into a single file and write it down so we can later read it and compose from it. Now we're going to put each of the individual layers into its own channel, and again we're going to do that with the shuffle copy. So I've created a new shuffle copy node and duplicated because we're going to need two of them to connect all the three. So again we have 1 and 2 connectors for the input. The one we need to go for our ambient occlusion, and the 2 for our beauty pass, exactly the same as with the merge node. So let's go inside the node, and now let's create our first custom channel. So from the one input, this will be the ambient occlusion, and the second output we need to select it from the drop down menu, new. This will create a new channel. Let's call it occlusion, and here we need to select which channel we need. We have presets, but we won't be using those. We can just simply click the RGBA button and get rid of the alpha. This will create 3 channels for this new channel called occlusion. And you can plug in the red, green and blue of the ambient occlusion layer to this new channel. So now we have a separate channel called occlusion with all the information from the ambient occlusion layer inside of it. And from the second input, the RGB and A goes to the RGB and A output of the shuffle copy node. Now inside the viewer, you can see the RGBA channel is coming through, and also we have this occlusion channel which contains the ambient occlusion information. So now let's connect the Z-depth. Again the same thing, the 2 goes from the input that comes from the beauty pass and ambient occlusion, and 1 goes from the newly inserted layer which is the Z-depth. So let's go to the shuffle copy node. And now we don't need to create a new layer because we have presets for the depth. So in the second output, select other layers and again select depth. And let's again select the red channel as we did the first time we composed it. And also outputting the RGB and A. And you can see in the viewer, we have RGB and A, the occlusion layer, and our Z depth pass. So now we have uh, 6 different channels, which we're now going to insert in one single file. Now I'm just going to show you, before we do that, how we can quickly do the same compositing with the different channels. So the merge node, again, I'm going to set the operation to multiply, but the A and B channels are going to come from the same place, and that is the last shuffle copy node. Again, we can tweak the mix between the two. Let's make it the same amount. So it was 0.615. And now let's connect the zippler, only connect it to the multiply node, and it should automatically select the depth zip pass. Now you can see I've connected both the previous composite and this one inside the viewer, and you can see there are none of a single difference between the two. So now let's get those to the side, those two nodes, and let's write out our single file with all the channels in tow. So under that last shuffle copy node, hit W to create a new write node, and in the node we can select all the channels we can output. We have all the different channels, but we need just to select all. This will render our all channels. But to do that, we need a compatible format, which is the EXR format. So I'm just writing the file name, and always with Nuke, don't forget to add dot percentage. This will be in the number, which will be our file name numbering. So if we have 150 frames, Nuke will know how to output them with the right name. You can see now when we selected the file type, we have the data type of 16 bits, and we need just to hit render, select our frame range, hit OK, and wait for the renderer to finish. So now let's go to that EXR folder where we outputted all the files. Now we can see we have 150 files, which are less than 1 megabyte each. And if you compare with the size of all the channels we have before, all the files, to be 15 or more percent less in size than those. So let's read in the EXR, again hit R and select the files that we've just rendered out. And that's all you need for this compositing. Also we can get the two composite nodes that we set aside for our previous composite. And let's bring all those to the side so I can compose it more easily. Now let's connect the EXR to the viewer, and under the outputs in the viewer you can see the different channels we have, which are all of the ones that we've rendered out. So we have the RGBA, we have the occlusion, and we have the Z depth. And the only thing we need to do for the composite is just to connect the A and B to the EXR, and this will automatically create our composite, which will be exactly the same as our first and second one. Now you can see how much easier it is to compose this way, how much time you can save, how much space, and how much you can streamline your workflow. It is especially powerful tool if you have multiple alphas, render layers, which you have combined in front of you, and you can easily access just from a single click of a button. Now all you need to do is just write out the composite and you're done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it gives some insight of the multi-channel compositing system that is inside of Nuke. And thanks for watching, and bye.